Okay, hello everyone. More raw format today. Rather than the usual videos, I'm just going to be breaking down, unedited, the trades that I've taken this week to show you kind of an insight into how I find positions. Now, I classify myself as a dynamic trader, which means I don't just swing trade, I don't just day trade. I build narratives around the market and then I trade through those narratives across all of the time frames. Now I'm going to preface this with a quote because it sums up how I trade very well. October as a whole was a slow month, but this is not out of the ordinary for me. I didn't take any trades for pretty much 3 weeks. Until yesterday, I hadn't really started executing any positions for the month of October. And here's the quote that sums up how I trade and how I'd like you to start thinking about trading. And you'll see at the end of this video, I made 8.2% in one day, which therefore sets me up for my entire month's profits, and I no longer have to look for any more trades this month. I will take a look, but I have no pressure to trade. And I did this in simply one day out of the entire month. So, it's laid back. Here's the quote from Jim Rogers, a very successful trader investor. I just wait until there is money lying in the corner, and all I have to do is go over there and pick it up. I do nothing in the meantime. Even people who lose money in the market say, I just lost my money, now I have to do something to make it back. No, you don't. You should sit there until you find something. Alright? That is my take on the market. I agree with Jim Rogers here. I don't force trades. I don't look for setups. I formulate scenarios and let the setups come to me. If the setups come to me, I take the trades. Those trades are usually big wins. Now, since mid-September, which was when I started a channel on Telegram called Insights where I share my trades, we have had 2 break-even trades and 4 winning trades. We have also had 0 losing trades. Okay? Now, what does this show you? Well, besides having a 100% win rate over the past 7 weeks, we haven't hit any losses. Why? Because the trades I take are the best trades. I'm not taking positions that are suboptimal for excitement. I'm not interested in making people excited. I am interested in making money. Alright? So I trade slow, but I do it for good reason. And it works. Now, I'm going to show you the trades that I took. Over here on the left is the channel where I share my positions. And we're going to start off with the first one of the week, which is this trade here. So what I was looking for was a sweep of this high. I'd seen the market come under here. And I was then looking for basically the market to start pushing back to the upside, breaking internal structure, and then we would validate from that buys which we would look to take towards the Asia high, with the overall intention of seeing this market return into this supply zone, and then I would look for a sell. So that was the position that I prepped the week out with. Now, unfortunately, you're going to see from this that the market did validate this setup. However, immediately after validating the setup, which came in here, right? So we had the sweep, the standard confirmation, which is what I look for my executions. I was then looking for a pullback to demand to execute buys in this market to take towards the target. Unfortunately, you're going to see this trade did not work out. We ended up running straight to the target without any pullback potential. So that trade, although I analyzed it and marked it up correctly, simply did not give me the entry that I wanted. So that was a no trade, okay? Now you can see that although the bias was right and I missed the position, I'm not going crazy about this, okay? I'm not interested in forcing this trade. If I see the markets ran away from my execution and I see that it's not coming back, I will let it go, okay? It's a trade filtering process where we end up with only the best opportunities because we're not forcing subpar positions. Now, after missing that initial trade, I covered this, all right? Which was after we had swept, I was then looking for, and this is what I covered in the video when I sent the first trade out, a reversal, confirmation reversal from the top supply. So let's watch that now here on the 5-minute. We see the market coming into the area of supply. It's now swept the Asia high, so there's good odds that this is kind of where the reversal is kicking in. All the liquidity up here is gone. The imbalance here is filled. The supply zone has been retested. So what we're looking for at this point is a shift in the market structure. We want to see this low break. This will create a break of structure, again validating the standard confirmation that we could then sell into. So it's very simple format, right? You can see the trades. We started out with a liquidation to the upside. Now that we've done that and hit supply, we're saying if the market breaks lower, then I will sell through the range towards the low. All right. I'm not forcing any positions out here. I'm not guessing and gambling and basically selling into the market without confirmation. I'm saying simply, if this occurs, I will take the trade. If this doesn't occur, then I don't take a trade. All right. This is why my frequency of trades is low, because I only take positions that validate exactly how I would want them to. Now at this point, we'd seen the market breaking lower. Okay, so we would have been good to then sell a supply zone retest. Now to identify our supply, we look at inefficiencies. An inefficiency is an imbalance, you might know it as, simply an open range in the market like this. When I see these inefficiencies, I am then expecting the market to pull back through them to retest areas of supply. Now above that, we had an efficient range where basically all the supply zones created in that range have been retested already. So we know that this low zone, this one, is what we call our extreme zone. It's the one that's the highest probability of creating a reaction for the market, and we don't really expect the market to get above that level. So what we could have done here, and what a few of the traders inside the Insights channel did, is sell from that level like that. Now I, unfortunately, missed my initial execution here, and I'll show you where I got in, with a slightly worse entry, but still nothing to be too angry about. So basically we saw the sell-off down like this, and it was around this area of consolidation, where what I'd seen at this point is the market has driven into an efficient range. Again, there's no demand zone capping us here, so there's nothing really to support price at this level. We treat this as essentially a momentum entry. We saw the retest. We've now seen a meltdown pushing through areas of demand. There's nothing holding price up, so therefore I saw this as a viable place to get into the trade. So my risk reward on the trade was like this instead. It was around 5.1, I believe, at the time of execution. My entry was somewhere in there. The reason I don't know the full R is because, as you're going to see, we didn't get all the way to it, so I've kind of forgotten what it was when I set it, but it was essentially like this. Okay, so that was the trade that I took. Now we then saw the market make a very nice sell-off down into the range. We didn't quite get down to the full target for the position that I wanted to take, but what we did do was again create new liquidity. So we had 1, 2, 3 equal lows. I saw above, okay, we have some areas of imbalance potentially leading us up into price areas like this. So there is possibility that the market could pull back to the upside after sweeping this low and trade towards some of these points. So now showing you the channel again, there's the initial trade that a lot of people took. Now I mentioned my execution was a little bit worse. So that was here, right? And then after we'd come down through this equal low liquidity, so it was around here, I closed my trade for 4.4R. So let's have a look if I messed up the entry a little bit. Yeah, because this is where we executed. So my entry was a little bit higher in that range, but essentially I closed this for 4.4R, all right? So we can see there, that's the execution I took. So it was something similar to this, essentially, was the trade that I took. Entry was inside this consolidation, stop was over that high, target was taken right down here at the low, and then I shared the next opportunity, which was going to be to wait for a 2-minute or 5-minute reversal pattern to then take us up into this high. So this one is actually only looking for a very small trade. We were looking for basically the market to react and trade up towards that level there, I believe using a 10-minute area of supply. So we looked at the 10-minute supply zone here, and I said if we get a 2-minute shift after sweeping liquidity under that low, then that's a clean target up in towards that 10-minute zone. So here we go. We have the sweep and then a break of structure here, which validated the structural reversal. Okay, so there's the break of structure. This is our new higher high. We've taken out all of the lows created in this range as well. It's a very strong impulsive move. So therefore the movement is on this kind of trade to buy from the demand zone. Now, as you know, or you might not know, it depends if you've watched a lot of my videos, for a demand like this with a messy wick, I clear the low of the wick and then I look at the indecision candle before to create the range. So essentially our demand zone is actually this here, okay, this indecision candle that I've just marked between those two red lines there. But given the wick that follows, I just like to extend it to this low because that would be the invalidation point for the trade. Providing we stay above the structural low, we're in for a profitable trade, all right? So then entry like this, stop under there, and then targets wise, we're up into here, okay? So the actual execution was taken in and around that level there. The target was pushed up into that 10-minute supply zone up there. And as you will see, it made a very clean run through to that target. Now this created a 3.8R outcome on the exact levels I executed the trade on. And that was the second, the second executed trade and the final trade of the phase. So as you can see, there's that trade there. And then a little explanation as to, you know, my style of trading. So you can see, I trade pretty slowly and I execute only when the market gives me setups to take, but when I take them, they are damn good setups. So we had short number one from this range into this low here. I identified that liquidity as a potential reversal point and hopped out of the trade for 4.4R, and then the market reversed up very quickly following the pattern that I'd given people and that I was looking at myself to trade, and that created another 3.8R, which all in all created an 8.2% return in one single day of trading, kind of from about midnight into the afternoon the next day. And that is pretty much me locked in with everything that I would possibly need for the month of October. Now we traded in a similar way in September. I will show you some of the trades we took then. I took 2 positions only in September. Of course, we're going to have to scroll back a little bit. One was at the end of the month, and that was a short position, I believe. So we have trade number 1 was a UJ sell. I believe that could have been the one that ended up break even. Yep. And then trade number 2 was Euro USD sells based on the breakdown I'd given inside of the video. And then there's that one. And then trade number 3, the other winning position, making up the 4 wins, okay, alongside the 2 break evens, was just at the end of September, and that was a trade here, a sell on Euro USD again. So we have had basically 3 Euro USD sell trades and 1 Euro USD buy trade, and in September we made 9.99% across those positions. Okay, so 9.99%, 8.2% locked in, literally over 6 weeks of trading, 7 weeks of trading. So we're looking at 18.19% return essentially in 4 setups. Okay, all of them won, no losses, right? That is how you want to trade, in my opinion. Slow, steady, let the market give you setups, wait until there's money in the corner and then go and pick it up, and you will be taking the A+ setups. And yes, I will take losses, and yes, I do take losses sometimes, but in this phase, no, I haven't had any losses for the past 7 weeks. I've had 4 wins, 2 break evens, and that is that. Because I am boring, because I wait for trades, and because I only execute the best. Now, if you want to get these trades, if you want to be in this channel, hit the link at the top of the description. You basically learn how I trade as you go. I break down videos every week. I do videos quite often, day to day as well. I've been a bit ill recently, so I haven't done as many, but I do those videos almost every day. And you're basically going to get permanent insight into how I trade, and then we attach lessons to it as well. There's a link at the top of the description for that. Hopefully that's valuable to some of you. You'll get all the trades I send out, all the ideas I've got. Now, don't join if you're a signals beggar. I don't want signals beggars. You're there to learn, and you will learn a lot. And yeah, cool. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.